Welcome to this webinar on Microsoft Teams and how to avoid context switching in Microsoft Teams and unlock the power of focus. My name is Ståle Hansen. I'm the CEO of Cloudway and I'm a digital well-being coach. I'm going to talk a bit about what that is later today. But I'm joined here today as well by Morgan Fostveit. Morgan, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hello, my name is Morgan. I'm a fast track architect at fast track for Microsoft 365 at Microsoft. And fast track is an included service for all of you happy Microsoft 365 license owner. So please contact me or find our webpage to know more about what is included.
Great. And Morgan, you came to me and asked, like, what are you guys talking about these days in order to do more with Teams and Teams telephony in Microsoft 365? And then I said, I talk about context switching. I think that's kind of the biggest challenge we have today in our productive workday. What do you think about context switching and what comes to mind for you, Morgan?
Well, talking to you, I was a bit aware of it already, but since I maybe relate a bit to my personality, but the way we work, at least now during the pandemic, we started to use Teams more. At least I did. I work a lot more from home, and when I use my phone to do calls, I get interrupted by all the notifications I have on my phone. And it's not only work, could be work also, but it's a lot of other things. And then I switch context. I leave what I was in the middle of doing or planning to do. And suddenly I sit there with my phone and, well, I'm sure we all know how that slope can be, and suddenly 10 minutes just passed, which could have been a good talk with a customer or a colleague on a project. So I got quite intrigued on how you presented, and so I'm so delighted that we could do this, and I understand it's three main focuses you have on this for us today.
Absolutely. And it's a good point regarding your phone, and I think that will be something we will talk about throughout these scenarios. So this is more like a discussion, really. I will show some examples of what we mean about switching context, how to avoid it, and then we will have a discussion. Again, we have some people here in the meeting as well, which can ask us questions if anything comes to mind. Well, let's start with telephony in Teams and context switching. I'm thinking telephony in Teams is kind of underwhelming when you get it the first time or when you have it, because it looks like a Teams call. it feels and looks like a Teams call, which is great, right? Because it's no difference making a Teams call or a telephony call. And we also see that the Teams mobile app is really good. So much better than what we had in back in the Skype for Business days, which means that we might have less use for telephony in some scenarios because, hey, we can just join a meeting on the Teams mobile client. But still, telephony has a place within Teams, more than you would think. And I want to show you a couple of examples where I think telephony in Teams really shines. So the first one is that it's very easy to make a call directly in Teams. Makes sense, right? You can make a call, and here you can call that person, you call the number, but there's one more thing. So when we establish the call, which is like, you don't have to switch context in order to do that. You don't have to go on your phone, but then you also have the ability to invite anyone into the call. Doesn't have to be another phone number, can be another Teams user or a group of Teams users in terms of having people join that call and having that conference going and getting stuff done. What do you think, Morgan?
Well, it seems like a melting pot here. You can add users from wherever or on whatever device or technology that they're on. They can chat, they can talk, they can video, they can phone. So then we know different devices can be used. So it seems like it's kind of laid out with all the possibilities, gives a lot of flexibility to meet different user scenarios then.
Yep. And Adele here, which joins as a Teams user, she does not need to have a Teams phone license, which means that you can still bring in any Teams user regardless. And I think maybe the biggest challenge, as you mentioned, Morgan, is that, hey, I need to make a call. I have a couple of minutes to make that call. And when I open my phone, what happens, right? Well, I see some notifications from Facebook, from Snapchat, and oh, I have some Teams notifications here even. So I start looking through them, and then suddenly 5 minutes have passed, and my window of opportunity of making a call is gone.
Exactly, exactly. And as I know, since I'm working with customers, many customers have the licenses, but not using it.
Mm.
Or they use it for just a small group that has a special need, which of course is interesting, could be a help desk or something, call service internally. But so many customers have telephony included in their licenses and only need to activate the numbers.
Mm.
So, and by that, giving the workforce this extra flexibility that comes with having Teams phone activated on your client.
Mm. Yeah, what I think is very important there is don't only look at those users who have don't have an alternative to telephony, so you give them telephony in Teams, but also look for those information workers that work from home, work in the office, are road warriors. They can also utilize telephony. And what we have done for a couple of customers is that we created an opt-in strategy. So it's not that we are enabling like everyone, but we make it super easy. Everyone gets telephony if they see the need for it after talking about advantages such as this, as part of rolling out digital well-being in the organization and so on. From there, they can opt into telephony and get a number and be able to do this.
Hmm. I must also add for our Swedish listeners that in Sweden, we currently have an offering on something called Teams Phone Mobile, which integrates the mobile phone even closer to your Teams identity and phone numbers. And currently, I do think it's only Sweden now in the Nordics that have that offering. But as I understand, it will come, for instance, in Norway in the months to come. So that's something to look out for.
Yep. Okay, I have an example, one more example here. The other one is this works on the phone. Which means that you don't have to be on a computer to do this. And so what happened, especially when the pandemic hit, is that we had a lot of phone migrations because companies needed to be able to call their work number or from their work number wherever they were. So it wasn't something that you did only in the office. So that is what we did a lot. But there's one more thing though. When you have the ability to dial out on your phone, you can also differentiate between your personal number, which is your mobile phone number, and the work number, so that you're not reachable 24/7, 365 days a week. You give out your work number, and then you have the ability to log off Teams, or you have the ability then to remove notifications in the evenings. I'm going to talk a bit more about that as well. But is that something you see, Morgan? Is that something people are looking for in order to differentiate work life?
Yeah, I think, yeah, again, I think the flexibility is the main go-to in this case. Uh, I I think that being able to uh, use this in such a flexible way really helps out bringing the dialogue between coworkers, customers, could be the public for a public company or an organization, uh, uh, creating a user-friendly environment, setting up dialogue from wherever you are,
Mm.
and being able to connect, bringing in colleagues, even though you're not on your computer, but you're on your phone. So I really think this is underappreciated, how this extra flexibility is actually bringing value to each employee in the workforce.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep. And what I see is that there is more consciousness out there. People are more conscious about work-life balance, where we see that people are looking into how they can not work in the evenings, and
Mm.
then differentiating your mobile phone and your work phone could be a technique to use in those regards. So those were the simple calling scenarios. And of course, when you get telephony within Teams, you can do more advanced hunt groups. You can do group call pickup and more traditional telephony settings. But I'm thinking that's fine. But we also need to think about how we can work smart. So how can we then connect telephony into Teams? Well, you have three main flavors. Calling plans, where you buy the license and the minutes from Microsoft. It's available in all the Nordic countries and more countries around the world. You have Operator Connect, which is kind of like the middle ground between calling plans and direct routing, where direct routing is where you bring your own SIP trunk, you bring your own hardware and connecting a session border controller to your existing environment, and you can build or connect to an existing very well built out calling environment and don't have to redeploy. But Operator Connect is the best of both worlds because you can bring your own operator and you get the ease of administration in Teams Admin Center, especially when assigning numbers. And then Teams Phone Mobile, as you mentioned, Morgan, is in under Operator Connect, where you have operators that also have the ability to just give you a mobile number, and that's a very good scenario for frontline workers, those mobile first users.
Yeah. So just to finish off what we just left, I think that the main point we're trying to deliver here is that for some users, the use case of staying in Teams, not using the phone to call, is actually very efficient. You can stay focused. But as we see, and as you just said, with here with Operator Connect, using the Teams Phone mobile integration is another use case where especially for frontline users then who may not have a computer to go to or a desk. So I think it's really important to think through what use cases do we have in our organization and how can we best support them
Mm,
with all this flexibility. Yeah,
great. Okay. Next topic, focus time. So this is the ability to do time boxing within Microsoft 365. And the thing is, though, time boxing is not something new. I just want to bring that home here because have you heard about the Pomodoro technique, Morgan?
I think I've heard about it, but I'm not into the nits and grits about it. So I'm all ears.
Yeah, so the Pomodoro technique is about making sure you are focusing for about 25 minutes. If you haven't done it before, start with 10 minutes. And then during that time, you are not trying to distract yourself. So whatever happens on your phone happens on your phone. Don't pick it up. Whatever happens on your computer, you are to focus on that thing. It turns out that we need consecutive time for of focus in order to reach the flow state. And the flow
Mm.
state is when you forget about time, you forget about your coffee, you forget about eating, and typically that happens in the evening, right? It happens when no one is expecting anything from you. But so the Pomodoro technique is to induce that flow state. And why is it called the Pomodoro technique? Well, back in the 80s, when Francesco started with this and like invented time boxing, he had a kitchen timer, which was a Pomodoro. It turns out Pomodoro is tomato in Italian. So I was in Italy the last year, and like everyone did the pomodoro over there. It turns out though it's tomato, but it's a timer. You set the timer, and then during that timer you are focusing.
Mm.
So that's what it's about. And then this is just one other example. There's one more book I want to mention here, which is Deep Work by Cal Newport. Recommend reading it. I recommend not doing everything he says, but it just shows that deep work, focusing, flow state, it's a thing.
Mm.
The problem, though, it has been for those who read these books.
Yeah.
Those self-help people that want to change their life or do something else, and it hasn't been like available to everyone. And then the third book I want to mention is Getting Things Done, which is also about the art of stress-free productivity.
Mm.
Today we talk about techno stress. So what is
Mm.
techno stress then? Well, it is about all the signals you get whenever you are on your computer, your mobile. You get all these messages, those emails, those Teams messages, and all that. And it is again what he says: when you are to get things done, focus. So
Mm.
that's fine. Um, the thing is, though, and this blows my mind, it's now built into Microsoft 365, and this has never happened before. That Microsoft is actually helping us working smart. You might
That's
disagree, Morgan, but the thing, what I mean is, we're not just giving access to the tools anymore, email, Teams,
mm.
meetings, and all that. We're also helping people working smart and using what we have been talking about for the past 40 years.
Yeah. And it's awesome to build on what you just said. The books were for those who bought the books,
Mm,
but now we actually support this in the software that millions of users are using.
yes,
It's just a click away. So, and sometimes even less.
yes,
Yeah. So that's a really great and maybe a kind of a shift on what Microsoft takes on of tasks. So, but we are really into doing more with less. That's the mantra, right?
Mm,
So whatever we can do to help, and I'm sure all have heard about Copilot coming.
mm,
It's on the same note, doing more with less, with you in the steering, having the hand on the wheel, and being the doing the decisions, but getting help, getting started, getting actually a quite long way. And this also comes back to focus time then.
mm. Absolutely. And we need to talk about this because if we don't talk about it inside the organizations, people won't pick up on it. But the thing is, we can
Mm.
start talking about it, and you don't have to like build a system outside the system anymore. You can just use a system which you already use. So, what does this look like? Well, this is in Viva Insights, and it's in the free version or included version of Viva Insights for you as an individual. So, if you go to Viva Insights, you go to settings in Viva Insights, click on the three dotted menu, and go to settings. You go to settings for protect time. And here we have a couple of options. So let's go through them. The first option is, do you want to schedule focus time every day? And you can choose which days as well if you want to. But I recommend do not schedule more than 1 hour because like deep work and focus during a busy workday, you have lots of meetings and so on, and suddenly you're reserving 2 or 4 hours to focus, then people don't believe in this and they will start like finding ways to contact you. So start with 1 hour. Many people are have the benefit or it's more beneficial for them to do it in the morning, to be have that focus time in the morning. That's when you're most cognitive active, and then have the meetings at the end of the day. So if you can choose, do that. But there are also people who are night owls and are more in the flow at the end of the day. Which one
Mm.
are you, Morgan?
Uh, I, as you see, I'm thinking. I tend to shift a bit actually, but I'm not the first or I'm almost the last every night to get to bed.
Mm.
So I might tend to the afternoon then.
Okay. I try to do it in the morning because then I like get things done and then I have an overview of my day and so on. But not at 8 o'clock though. That's too soon. 8:30, 9. That's I need to have a coffee or two first. Then I'm ready to do some deep work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this one, and you need to configure this one actually in order to get the full effect of this, is that do you want a reminder? Do you want an
Mm,
extra notification? You might think, no, I don't want that, but you absolutely do, and this is why. You get a Pomodoro timer when you have scheduled focus time in your workday. And I've been working with this for many years already, focus time and blocking notifications and so on. But to get this built into the platform is a very big deal, and this became available in November 2022, I believe. So it hasn't been there for long, and you might not have seen this. But the thing is, this is built on the same philosophy. So you have focus period, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you have a break, and then you continue for the period of time you have scheduled. And this is taken straight out of the Pomodoro technique book. And
mm.
have you tried this, Morgan?
Absolutely, I'm using this, and not always setting on and using the music and so on, but I have the focus time going.
Mm,
I'm getting notifications, and I'm actually uh, trying to cut off everything else, and I have my task list. So that's, yeah, it's a tremendous thing to have,
mm,
and it also gives me the ability to put up breaks during the day, because when we sit at home, when I have so many days at home, it's useful to, yeah, I could level up my desk. I can make a walk to have my blood rushing a bit, not sitting all the time. Uh, and it gives me, yeah, this, it when the system says take a break,
Mm.
then I'm kind of, okay, I'm allowed.
Yes,
You,
exactly. You're
you you
entitled
understand?
to take a
I'm
break.
entitled to the break because the
Yes.
system gave it to me.
Yep.
Uh, and 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 it's helpful since I have meetings going head on or butt to butt,
Mm. Back to back, maybe. Yeah.
back to back. Thank you. And that's also helpful to cut off those 5 minutes at the end and the start of meetings. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is that this is available in Teams through Viva Insights, and we got a question here from a listener: is this available in all Office apps? So Teams is the trigger of this. And this is where you will find it through the Viva Insights. You configure it there, and then it's run through Teams. So going back here to the settings, there is one more thing which is very, very, very important and kind of magical, is that you do want to mute your notification, not allow notification, mute your notification during focus
Mm.
time. So what happens then? Well, if you go back to the previous example, you are put in a mode called do not disturb focusing. Your status is set to focusing. So you're not in just do not disturb, you are in do not disturb focusing, and your colleagues will
Mm.
see this. So during this event, you will have this special magical only way to set it is through Viva Insights and focus mode. That is when you get this mode and you suppress notifications while you are focusing. This is such a big deal.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's not just do not disturb. It's so much more.
Yeah, and this is excellent. So I think when you started on this section, you talked about start with 10 minutes or
Yeah.
20 minutes and work your way up to at least an hour, or and and it's about training your colleagues also. If that's the culture that people just can book you because there's open time in your calendar, like I have, then this is a way of training your colleagues to respect, I would say, that, oh, he's focusing,
Yep.
and let him be finished. He will see my chat or ping whenever he's finished. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more than that as well, uh, because when you are in focus mode, the problem is that, hey, if you're thinking that I could set don't disturb myself, and that's fine. The problem then is that if you forget to reset it,
Yeah.
then you will be in don't disturb the whole day and maybe next day until someone tells you that, hey, you have been in don't disturb for quite some time. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. You
Yeah.
also have the option to set duration for a status here, but then you're
Mm.
losing half the feature, because the part of the feature is that specific custom present status, which is called focusing. And I
Mm.
have a blog, msunified.net, and I've been blogging about custom present states in Skype and Teams for quite some time. And to this day, I get like 200 views daily on the blog post on how to set this up. So people
Mm.
are interested in this. People are
Mm.
thinking like, how can I work smarter within Teams? And this is the way to do it. This is the way. So, but we need to talk about one more thing, and that is during this timer, you set the timer, and then the next tab here is tasks. And which tasks are these? Well, they are coming from Microsoft To Do. And my recommendation is to use Microsoft To Do as your task system for you as an individual, because then you get this synergy with the platform that
Mm.
helps you during focus mode. Which tasks do you want to do? Which tasks are maybe expiring, or something I plan to do today, or what should you do during your focus time? And then you get these suggestions, which is great. So in this case, I wanted to write a Cloudway Gazelle article. We are a Gazelle company. We talked about updating digital well-being landing page. We were organizing an event. So those were some of the tasks that then I had the option to do during my focus time as well. So it's not just what's on top of your inbox. It's not just what people ask you about in Teams, but you need to set your own agenda, which is also very important.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things there is the ability to, when I flag a mail, so I get a mail, I flag it, that's something I need to do, but I can't do it right now, then To Do picks it up,
Yeah.
and I can find it in that list.
Yeah, and I use that all the time. There's one more thing I use, and that is send to create a task from a Teams message. And when
Yeah.
I did that, you go to the three-dotted menu, and then you scroll down more actions, and then create task. It works on mobile as well. When that
Mm.
feature came around, it changed the way I related to Teams, because finally
Mm.
I had a way to capture actions within Teams that they weren't
Exactly.
able to do at that point in time. So send to
Mm.
To Do, and then they will even be bubbled up here in To Do as well. And you see some examples of stuff I've been capturing. So some of these are actually from Teams, which
That's
is
excellent.
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. But
Excellent feature.
there's one, we need to talk a bit more about focus time, because we need to understand how to focus.
Yeah.
And this is something you can talk about in your organization, because it's not enough just to say, hey, you can focus now, good luck. Because I do believe time is relative. And I think there's a difference between you spending 20 minutes waiting for a meeting, looking through social media, looking through your email, looking through Teams, and so on, or spending 20 minutes before a meeting in focus mode. That's such a big difference. There's incredible what you can do. So if you have 25 minutes until your meeting, start a focus time for 15
Mm.
minutes. And then
Mm.
during that time, or if you haven't done this before, start with 10. It takes between 7 and 20 minutes to reach the flow state, but 10 minutes seems like an eternity if you haven't done this before, and then work yourself up towards longer and longer focus intervals. So the thing is, though, if you thought it was your colleagues and that focus mode helped you when you're focusing, and it's your colleagues that are distracting you, you are wrong. It's you. you you are the problem. So the moment you want to go to Facebook, that's a no. You don't want to go to Facebook. It's only 10 minutes, right? Twitter, something may happen on Twitter. No, that's a no. Because like we can do this. You can focus for this period of time. LinkedIn, then that's no. That's a no. Instagram, no. Reddit, no. Your favorite news sites, because something might have happened, right? You get boring, you need this dopamine rush. That's a no.
Mm.
It's only 7 minutes left. That's why, that's how to use this timer. It's not just to set aside time for focus, but it's also to help yourself understand that it's not such a long time. It's only 7 minutes left. Forgot to get the tea and coffee. Too bad. Too bad. If you go and break your focus to get a coffee, then you are losing out. The other news sites, it has almost the same news as your previous news site. That's a no too. Something is happening on your phone. That's a no, because it's probably a Snapchat, it's Facebook. They can wait 5 minutes. It's
Mm.
possible. And for
Mm.
whatever you do, don't go to TikTok because time disappears. on TikTok. So this is very important. We need to teach everyone that you need to avoid distractions, and that's what the Pomodoro technique is all about. What do you think, Morgan?
Well, I can just well, um, I can see myself doing a lot of these things, and kind of ruining the focus time. I need to start over to get into the flow. Uh, it could be really interesting things and with value and so on, but it's ruining my focus
Mm,
time. So I I do must confess I have a list in Teams that I have names that can still contact me even though I I'm in focus a focus state, but so that's also a feature. So that kind of calms me. I know that if something really important, they will reach me,
mm,
even though I've turned on that not to disturb
mm.
and in focus state.
Yep.
So I yeah, and of course this is not only on the phone. We tend to have, at least I have, a separate browser window with a personal or private profile, and the others are in a work profile. And of course, LinkedIn here is tend to be looked at as work. So yeah, I um, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. And the
Yes,
challenge here is if you're not conscious about this, you will never reach the flow state
exactly.
while you're at work. So if you're unconscious about this is probably why you're getting things done in the evenings. And
Mm,
that's not a good spiral, right? You have
mm,
your meetings and like other work in daytime, and then if you really need to get something done, you need to do it off hours, because then no one is expecting anything of you,
mhm,
and you are unconsciously doing this, right?
mm,
Because when you are finished with that activity, you can go to bed. But try to induce this during the workday and leave evenings for your personal life. Think about
mm,
that.
mhm.
But
Food
there's
for thought.
yeah, and you can use music in order to reach the flow state faster. Use Team certified headset with noise canceling. Team certified, so you don't have to context switch the headset when joining a Teams call after your flow state. I have a Spotify playlist as well. If you search for this wall spiral for focus work, I have like 83 likes already on the playlist. So people are actually looking into this. And that is use the techniques and tools available. This is the thing, people, and it's not just for those who are super interested. I mentioned leave your evenings and off hour time for your family, for not being at work. But is that brings us over to one more thing we need to talk about before we finish this video, and that is quiet hours. And this is also something we need to talk about. And I think it's kind of connected to the focus mode in Teams, because focus mode is about getting things done when you are there, and maybe you don't have to do it in the evening, but at the same time, it turns out that we need consecutive time in the evening in order to feel rested the day after. So
Mm,
the same way as you are never reaching the flow state during the day, you're never reaching full resting mode in the evenings, because you get distracted by work notifications in the evening, every hour, every 2 hours, once in the evening, and then this just ruins your resting time, your
mm,
family time, or the time you need to be away from work in order to be productive at work the day after. So I think this is also something a lot of people are not conscious about, and we need to talk about this.
Mm. Yeah, I must say that this is, well, I last 3 years I've been a grandfather. And the time from work, we have dinner, and the time until they go to bed. And as um, I've not told you, they live with us,
Mm.
so I have them around me, just out the door, and that's so valuable time. Uh, so that's been something that's really tickled me, that I will not be the granddad who looks at the phone when the little one tries to connect to me.
Mm.
And I have that one chance, because if they don't get my attention the first, they start to learn that I'm not paying attention.
Mm.
So that's quite serious actually for me as a granddad.
Mm.
So I need to be very conscious on how to use my phone. And of course I'm not perfect. So uh, but well, not so good things can happen. But I'm try to do this more consciously now, and I think taking care of, well, when we work, we can work quite intensively, and we have all the tools to do so. Uh, and that gives us also, I think, the good conscience of not working
Mm.
when we're not working. So having that balance, and of course that's different for each one to find that balance. Uh, but I do think that the tools here can help you,
Mm.
and to shut off some of the noise, or all the notification streams.
Yep.
So and also to the quiet hours, I see also both in Outlook and in Teams that you're now um, allowed to create a mail or send a post, uh, but it will not be visible until work hours comes for the recipients. So that's also in the same line of features, uh, being respectful of co-workers' time.
Yep. And the thing is, though, why this is important is that if you glance at your phone, because you will use your phone at home, because you have maybe your car keys here, or you're paying with your phone at the store. You This is how you stay connected with your family through Snapchat and Facebook or whatever. So you can't like, oh, I leave my phone in the drawer in the evening. So that doesn't scale anymore. It doesn't work anymore. So we need to use other techniques. The thing
Mm,
is that
mm,
this is a major challenge because notifications in general in Teams looks like social media.
mm,
And the reason for that is that you get it in the app, you get it as a push message, you get it as a pop up on your computer, you get it as an email, even if you haven't turned that down off. I mean, and then it looks like social media trying to bring you into the app and use it. And I also recommend watching the documentary, The Social Dilemma, if it's still on Netflix, where they say that if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. And then you're thinking, yeah, but we're paying for Teams, aren't we? Yes, but Microsoft is still measuring and the monthly active users, which is now 300 million users worldwide.
mm, mm,
So I think this is the number one skill for the 2020s to be conscious about notifications. And the point is, if you get a work notification on your phone after hours, then you will go into work mode because work is not a place anymore. It is a mindset. And if you've seen a message, you're starting to author your response
mm,
unconsciously. And it's like a timer pops off in your head. It's like a Pomodoro timer. is set to 30 minutes, and you believe that you need to answer within 30 minutes. And that's not a good thing, because the sender maybe didn't intend that to happen. But while you are with your grandchildren, or you're making dinner, or you're at the store, you start zoning out because you got the work notification here. Even though
Mm.
you swiped it away, it's still in the back of your head. So I think this is a number one skill for the next decade. So when you get a notification, this is a life skill, people. You should ask yourself three questions. Why did I get it? Was it useful for me? And how can I get it at the right time? Or maybe even turn it off completely. So if you
Mm.
ask yourself those three questions every time you get a notification, I did a test on my phone a couple of years ago, and I noted down how many notifications, or you can see that even in the wellness apps on your phone, how many notifications you get throughout 24 hours. I got 270 notifications.
Wow.
And that was before I was active on Snapchat.
Yeah.
So, people, we need to talk about this. We need to take control of this. So, first off, I recommend going into Teams and tuning what kind of notifications you get.
Mm.
But then go on your phone and tune this. And I saw this Twitter message in 2019, actually. There are people who send you Teams messages at 3 in the middle of the night. What the beep is wrong with you? What kind of culture are we building in our company, right? And then
Mm.
Microsoft has introduced delayed sending on emails and Teams
Mm.
messages. I kind of don't subscribe to that, because we need to use it's more important for me as a manager that you have the skill of getting the right notification at the right time for your whole life, and not just for the one message that I were empathic enough in order to delay for you. You should do this in your life in total. And I believe that if you get distracted at 3 in the middle of the night, then it's your own fault. It's not my fault that you haven't turned off notifications at the right time. So, what does that look like in Teams on the mobile? Well, you go to your avatar. This is on Android, by the way, and it works the same on iOS. You go to your avatar, is your picture, by the way, and then you go to notification. You go to during quiet time, and here you configure quiet time. So the way I configure it is that from 5 in the afternoon until 8:30 in the morning, I don't get any Teams and Outlook notifications, because this works for Outlook mobile as well now, which is fantastic. And so during that time, I won't get unconsciously pulled into work, even if it's an email, if it's a Teams message, anything. Which
Mm.
means that I can still go in there. I haven't uninstalled it. It's there on my phone, and so on. So I can still use Teams, but at my own pace, and not when I get a random message because a discussion happened in Teams and I felt that I needed to be part of that. So yeah, this activity very important. And then Saturday and Sunday, I don't get any notifications.
Mm.
This is the way, people.
Mm. Yeah, I recognize those features and also the timing, and I use that, and of course it's also well, I also need to work on the habit of picking up the phone to
Mm.
check anyway.
Mhm.
But turning off unnecessary notifications, turning off sound, and so on, that's been on my list. Well, it was on my list. It's done for a long time ago, and it's yeah been quite necessary for me in order to prioritize my time and not let all other well notifications and I want to prioritize my own time, right? So
Mm.
so so uh, these are really, really helpful features.
Yeah. So this combined with focus mode, so focus in the day, be off in the evenings. That's a positive spiral because it turns out you're more productive when you're rested, which means you get more stuff in the day, you're more rested in the evenings. And it's just like a positive way. And if you manage to do this on an organizational level, this is the culture within our organization,
Mm.
then it if it can have unforeseen positive consequences. So
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Cloudway we are 11 people, and when I introduced this, because we are MVPs and thought leaders and so on, but no one were doing this. And when I talked about this, and as a manager I said, I expect you to configure this, because when I'm sending you a message I don't require you to respond to it. It actually changed the culture in the group overnight.
Mm.
We saw
Mm.
less conversations happening off hours. People were better at having more full evenings, and we could measure this through Viva Insights actually, because you can see
Mm.
how many evenings and weekends you manage to not be in Teams and send a message, join a meeting, send an email. It's actually measured
Mm.
by the platforms. You can even gamify this, which is very cool. On
Very cool.
Android, you can also say that important messages can break through this. But what I say to my colleagues is that if you really, 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 really need to reach me, send me an SMS. Yes, I said SMS. I'm that old school, but SMS actually breaks through on my phone.
Mm.
During the 2 years we have been using this technique, it had happened
Mm.
once that they really, 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 really needed to reach me.
Yeah, exactly.
S-
And you can imagine in Microsoft, we're, well, I don't have the exact number, of course, but way over 200,000 people, and of course we work all over the globe. So the calendar, quiet times, they're really important
Mm,
to have this company work and to build on the culture of respecting the local time. So when I work with colleagues in other time zones, yeah, we have messages to and settings to inform me on what is the timing. I see work hours in the calendar, right? And then these features are even more important.
absolutely. What I also do, I have a smartwatch, because you talked about you're practicing not picking up your phone. And part
Mhm.
of the reason why you're picking up your phone is you need to check if something has happened, if something is burning,
Mhm.
but also if what time it is as well. So I get that's why I'm saying send me an SMS, because then I know, and I'm not far away from my phone anyway. But then if nothing happens here, then nothing important is happening, which
Mm.
means I don't have to pick up my phone. I can forget about it actually, which is also something I've been practicing for a long time. And it is hard, people. It's hard stuff.
So you're practicing on forgetting your phone?
Yes, not
Excellent.
no forgetting about my phone. If I forget it,
But
it's
yeah.
disastrous. Yeah,
Sorry about
yeah, yeah.
that.
So this is how we gamify this. Viva Insights, you go to home, and under there you have quiet time. It can measure it. This is how damaged I am. So even though I use these techniques, it's only 4 evenings, for 2 Saturdays. It's only actually weekends when I look at this, that I don't
Yeah.
work off hours. But it's then important for me then that my team use it, right? So even though I need to do stuff off hours, because that's what I do. I'm a CEO of a company. I'm an MVP. I do talks all over the world, and so I need to do stuff. But at the same time, it's very important for me that I'm not disturbing my team. So
Mm.
this, you would have thought that this is disastrous, Ståle. What about your team? And I say, if they get distracted by me, it's their own fault. And this is part
as
of
long as long as you're not texting them.
yeah. And this is part of my digital well-being concept. Actually,
Yeah.
I have well-being might not be the best word. It's called digital HMS now because
Mm,
that's what it is. This
mm,
is regarding the notifications, regarding the focusing, regarding the capture. We talked about that as well. Use Microsoft to do have a good teams culture in the way we are talking together and collaborating. When we are succeeding with this, we become a tad more happy. And it turns out that happy people are more productive. They're better
mm,
problem solvers. It's just generally easier to work with. So if
mm,
we can do this now on an organizational level, because all these activities are now built into the platform, built into Teams, which means that you don't have to be a crazy person like me who figure out like um, Venn diagrams for how to be happy in your life. You don't have to be that person anymore. You just need to know about what tool is the best tool to use, and if you succeed with this on organization level, we
mm.
don't know what's going to happen. It only positive things will happen. So
Absolutely.
I do have a YouTube channel where I have brain dumped everything, all the details on the smart techniques to use in To Do, OneNote, Teams, Viva Insights, how to take vacation even, 8 hours of material. Go there and have a look if you're interested. And that's digital well-being or digital HMS. So everything we talked about, like the context switching and all that, is
Mm,
part of this thinking.
mm.
So with that, we are rounding off this discussion. I want to share this quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, where he says that if you know the why, you can live by anyhow, because change is hard. So
Mm.
in order to change your habits using these tools that we have talked about, integrating telephony in order to avoid picking up the phone to make a phone call in the middle of your focus session. If you know why you're doing this, then maybe you can suffer through the agony of change.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Ståle, for a great session, and thank you for having me. We share on what all the good work that you do
Yep.
as a Microsoft
And
partner,
there's
and
one more thing actually, because if you are a company that are more than 1,000 people, you might be eligible for build intent workshops where we can talk about these things. We can talk about Viva Insights. We can talk about telephony in Teams and how to succeed with that and integrate that. And this is something sponsored by Microsoft that we can run. Or Fast Track can come and talk about these things for you as well. So there are some actions here that you can take. So reach out if you are interested in finding out if you're eligible for these activities. Also Fast Track, because I can then relay that to Morgan. So use this contact form. And Morgan, thank you for joining me. Any last words? What's your main thought right now after we talked about this?
stay focused.
Stay focused. Perfect. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, and bye bye all.